another channeling video. So Bahar will join us in a minute. And before we start anything, I want to say that I've noticed that there are some of you that are super, super loyal, that have been commenting and providing questions and, putting the timestamps, and have been like a huge contributor to this work. And it gives me so much energy. It gives me so much purpose when I see your support. So I wanted to take the time today to just give a shout out to the people that I've noticed are very loyal and supporting of the channelings and of my work in general. Okay, so here you are. Some of these are, most of these are probably your YouTube names, but some of these are the actual names. Okay, so Ishia Simone, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Gwendolyn, Mila Kurikova, Ashley Nicole, Damian Collins, Candy, Kritika, L. Ortiz, Astro Anna, that's a Swedish pronunciation, Astro Anna, King J Slim, and eSync 444. Thank you guys. I totally appreciate you so much, and I just wanted to express how much your support and your comments and your questions, how much they mean to me. So thank you. Now let's get Bahar in. Bahar, join us.
Hello.
Hey. So
good to be here again.
Yeah, want to tell people that we had some difficulties syncing up, me and Bahar, for this week's channeling, and I just didn't want to do it without her. I just feel like I just really appreciate these channelings so much with Bahar, so I want her to be, when she's available, if it's possible, I would rather have her on. And we have prepared some really awesome questions.
Yeah.
And I also want to say that Bahar has been one of the main or biggest contributors to the ebook that is just released today with the channeled messages. So she has not only been transcribing these, she has been editing them. She has been, she has put a lot of effort into these transcriptions. So this ebook is now available for you guys to order. And Bahar, do you want to tell people a little bit about what they can expect in this in the ebook?
Yeah, definitely. So I think all the hours I put into editing these transcriptions were totally worth it. Like, to me, it didn't feel like work, really, because it was a totally different experience to write or read these messages in written format. And I feel like it's so much deeper. And it's like, how when you watch a movie, it's not as good as when you read the book.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel with these messages. It's like you read them and you can like imagine, and you have like even your personal experiences coming through. And it's really like, it's a very profound experience, I think. So I can recommend it to anyone, because not only you brought in like your own horizon about all kinds of topics and how oregano feels being put on pizza, but also like you get insights to yourself, because you connect like with your own divinity, which is like within you. So it's beautiful. Yeah. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Yeah, I agree. And this is how we met, because it was through these transcriptions that I was like, wow, this girl is really talented. It's like what I felt, what I experienced in the channeling, which is really hard to put into words and express verbally. What I experienced, I felt like you could really convey that in the written word. And that to me felt like it was really like truly like unfiltered the way it came through. And I agree. I feel like a lot of the messages were comforting and like helpful and healing, and some of them were just hilarious. Like
Yeah.
How about oregano? Yeah, that still cracks me up, you know. So
I love when
the
spirit is funny.
I love it too. It's like there's so many times where it's funny, but the oregano one really cracked me up, which is why, by the way, I want to tell the viewers that this um, this is this is volume one of the channeled messages, and this volume is called "How Does Oregano Feel?" Because I felt like that the the title was channeled too, because I just feel like it just cracks me up so much that among these like really serious topics like is heaven and hell real? Like, what was Jesus like? And like, how do you heal from narcissistic abuse? Or like, how do you, from all these like heavy, deep, insightful things, we have the oregano being really pissed off about being put on pizza. I thought that was just hilarious. I was like concerned, like, do I have oregano in the house? And then it turns out I did have oregano in the house. I did have oregano in the house. I'm not sure what to do about that, but uh,
Oh, throw it in the garden. Free oregano.
yeah. I was thinking, how can I best use you? It's it's hilarious. I think volume two is going to be very interesting too, because that's when these are going to be on, like the ones that we're doing now are going to be on, and then we have more about like when God comes through. There's a few times where God spoke in like in I form, like, so that was really. I look forward to that as well. Okay, so we have amazing questions lined up. I mean, me and
Yeah,
Bahar could just talk and talk, but I
I
guess
know.
guys.
Definitely. But let's get to the questions because I'm
Let's do some
very, very
channeling too.
excited.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. 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 Take it away, Bahar.
All right.
Wait, let me turn off my phone.
Oh,
There,
yeah.
there we go.
Okay, so the first question is, how do we deal with dark thoughts? Is it bad to think about bad things that happened?
Sometimes thoughts of a past event can come up for you to see it from a new point of view. Sorry, I got a little bit confused there because we were discussing this previously, and I was being aware that it was told to me that it was about processing the pain. Um, so Bahar, can you just guide me to what to
Hmm.
look? I was just a little bit, just
So, what is the purpose of dark thoughts besides processing the pain? Like, for example, if these dark thoughts are not personal experiences that we had.
if they're not about personal experiences that we've had, then they will definitely align with something with a pain that we carry within us. If it's not the same type of event that has happened to us, it will be the same in terms of how it feels. And so we will be drawn to things that feel similar to a pain that we have ourselves experienced. But in terms of if it is bad to think of bad things that have happened to us, sometimes it is a reminder that you have not yet processed this event, and that it will come up if you don't. So, in a way, when these thoughts come up, it is like a reminder not to suppress these feelings. although it is helpful to put your focus on positive things that make you feel good, you must find a way to frame the past painful event in a way that feels settled to you, in the sense that you must make peace with what happened. And so, whatever framing you need to frame it in to make the past painful event don't know how to explain this. It's like when you have peace over it.
Mhm.
So you must frame it in such a way that it will give you peace and it will feel settled. It must not feel like an unfinished thing. It must feel like a closed chapter, and it must feel settled within you. That is when you know you have healed from it. And until then, it will come up in your thoughts to remind you to look at it.
So does looking at it help releasing it and coming to peace with it?
To some extent, the reminder is a processing in itself, but the main processing is done on an emotional level. So while the thoughts will awaken certain emotions, it is those emotions, when they are awakened in you, that must be dealt with. And one way to do that is to find a new way of thinking about the event that will give you peace. For example, if you have had a traumatic event happen to you, you must, within the limits of your beliefs, because you cannot go beyond your beliefs, but if you can frame this event in a way that you believe makes sense, that is positive, and that is meaningful, then you can make peace with it and heal. For example, if somebody has attacked you, you might find, instead of thinking of it as a random event that harmed you by a malicious person, and as a result fearing people in general because of this event, if you instead see it as it was an expression of misalignment on your part, a temporary misalignment, which has had the purpose in your life of giving you something more. For example, as a result of this trauma, you discovered the importance of healing, and it helped you heal things from your childhood, and it helped you build more meaningful relationships, and it helped you appreciate yourself. If you can then look at all of these things that came out of this event and see it for all the benefits that it brought to you, then you can, within the framework of your beliefs, you can give this event meaning, and you can make peace with it. And so when you it will it will change how you feel about it too, on an emotional level. So instead of having the emotions of being a victim and being helpless, the emotions will be just sadness or grief, which after they have been expressed, will come with acceptance and inner peace.
Wow, that is some good advice. Thank you. The second question is, what is the purpose of these channelings? How come that when everybody's watching these, they feel addressed personally? Is there a personal interaction in them?
The energy that people who watch it put in, some people put in more than others. Your channel could feel this intuitively by sensing the contribution of others and therefore addressing these people by name or YouTube handle. Some people have a large contribution to the channelings. Whether or not they comment, their energy investment influences the channelings. Those who have less energy investment influence the channelings less, but those who have a lot will influence them a lot. And so, in a way, the channelings are what they are because of those who are watching. It is a collective effort. And as the channel has said before, this would not have happened by the channel's efforts alone, by the channel's intentions alone. There is a collective energy that the channel is translating and being the mouthpiece for. But the purpose is for a larger group of people. It is very personal to them. And so, in a way, those of you who are involved in this are connected on a spiritual level and are following similar themes in your life because you are all, in a way, going through the same course in life and need to hear similar things because those are the themes you are playing out in your life right now. And so, yes, those that are watching and are feeling very connected to this are influencing this, and it is a direct message to them.
Wow, that's beautiful. So the next question is, what is the spiritual purpose for autism?
One is sensitivity. Your society is quite insensitive in many ways. And so this insensitivity in your society will harm those who have autism. And another one of their purpose is to allow for being different. When there is a large consensus about something, it is important that there are those that do not fit in with the norm. It is important for there to be an acceptance of differences. It is especially important since your society is convinced that they are righteous and enlightened when they in many cases are not. Spiritually, you have some more growing to do. In a way, autistic people are helping you, guiding you like an older brother or sister. They are generally, spiritually, a little further ahead. Do not make this an excuse for you to feel inferior. There is nothing that can make anybody inferior. You are different and express different aspects of God. Do not make the answer of any of these questions an excuse to feel inferior. Autistic people help you move forward spiritually because their needs will require you to be compassionate and understanding and open-minded. And so you will have to grow in that direction. Do not interpret this to mean that there is something bad about you as a society. There is nothing bad about a baby not being an adult yet. It is not an insult to the baby to say you are not yet an adult. Your society has some way to go in order to become spiritually mature. There is nothing wrong with where you are now. We are just observing that in some ways you have some spiritual growing to do.
Okay, so the next question is the Bermuda Triangle a porthole to other dimensions?
There are different ways to answer this. There may be different realities involved when it comes to the Bermuda Triangle. It depends on the dimension or the reality from which you are approaching this. So yes and no, depending on there is a parallel reality where, yes, the Bermuda Triangle is a porthole, is a portal to another world, another dimension. But there's also a reality in which the Bermuda Triangle is not that it's not mystical, but where there is no evidence of its mysteries. Where there's no evidence to explain its mysteries. So in either of these realities, there are mysteries, but in one of the realities, the mysteries can be proven to lead somewhere else. And in the other reality, the mysteries remain mysteries because there are no answers to what happens to those ships or planes that disappear there.
And how are these realities connected with each other?
You can shift realities, either of you. And so, depending on how open you are to other dimensions, or other dimensions being a part of your reality, you may join the reality where, or the dimension where mysteries like these are normal and not really mysteries at all. If you prefer not to, and many of you prefer not to and are willing to actively close your eyes to mystical phenomena, if you are one of those who prefer to deny these things, then there is a reality for you too. They are both here. You can be, in a sense, you can share the same world with people who are in a different dimension from you. So while you may be aware of the mystical phenomena as the Bermuda Triangle being a portal to another dimension or another world, your friend who is in the same room as you may not share that reality and may have the experience that the Bermuda Triangle is nothing but a weird story that they have no personal experience of, and that they have no verifiable way of testing whether it has any mysteries associated with it or not. So you can be of different convictions and both be right in a way, because one of you would have to actively deny and actively dismiss the idea of different realities.
And what is the purpose of the Bermuda Triangle from the point of view where it has a purpose?
One of its major purposes is to make the supernatural, what we call supernatural, to make it undeniable to you. There are way too many of you who would deny the supernatural, even if it bit you in the face. And so, examples like the Bermuda Triangle are one of those things that you would have to really go out of your way to explain it away. And so it is an example, it is a reminder, it is a wake-up clock. It is one of those things that make you unsettled with a worldview where supernatural things are not possible. The Bermuda Triangle will make it impossible to be too convinced that there is nothing supernatural, because it will always leave you doubting That is one of the purposes for you as a society, or for those who insist on denying. There is also a great deal of joy and fun in the space between the Bermuda Triangle and our reality and the other world, or the other reality. A great deal of fun is being had from those on the other side. I want to say I'm seeing like a water park. I'm feeling like on the other side, it's like their water park. They're like having a lot of fun.
Wow, I was about to
Yeah,
ask what kind of fun.
yeah, it's like a what, like it seems like they're sliding, and but it's, I don't know if that's like a representation, or it's like,
Mm.
I'm not sure even what the other side really is, but I mean, I'm not getting that automatically. So you're
And do the
yeah.
Yeah, maybe the last question to Bermuda Triangles. Do these ships and airplanes that disappear there, do they physically land in that new dimension?
Yeah, yeah, they're unscathed. They're unharmed. Well, the planes might be a little bit harmed on as they come out the other end. The ships are totally unharmed. But the people are unharmed.
And are they
Yeah.
able to return?
It's unclear to me whether they're unable or they're unwilling. They they don't return, but it's unclear whether it's because I don't see them unhappy about the fact that they can't return,
Hmm.
but I don't know if it's that they can't return or they don't want to return, because they do seem content. They're not upset. I don't see them upset.
Wow, it sounds like it's better on the other side.
Yeah, they have a water park. I want to go too.
Wow, I'm jealous. Okay, so the next question is also magical. Do dragons, mermaids, and fairies exist? And if yes, where?
Can you do that one at a time? Because I'm feeling like there might be different answers.
Okay, so do dragons, mermaids, and fairies exist?
Okay, can we start with one of them? Like
Oh,
dragon.
do
Let's
dragons
take,
exist?
okay. They No, not in our reality. I'm finding it's hard to answer this one because I thought they did. I mean, I've seen small dragons. I thought they did. Um, okay, do they exist? They're saying, yeah, the small dragons do exist, but they kind of don't count because that's not what is meant from those that want to know about the dragons.
Mm,
So no, I'm a little disappointed, I gotta say.
me
I was
too.
a little bit disappointed, yeah.
Okay, what about mermaids?
Yes,
Oh, where can we find them?
they are deep in the In the ocean or deep in the seas? But they are very deep and they don't usually see people. But I'm thinking, how do they breathe? Right? That's what I'm thinking. How
Yeah.
do, how do they breathe? They are adapted for, they have like gill, like fish have gills. What's it called
Mm.
when they breathe from the sides? They have that
Mhm.
on the sides.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry, now I just feel like I want to ask, is it like the Little Mermaid, like the cartoon, or is it different? Because if it's like the cartoon, then I'm thinking, how do they breathe? But what do they look like? They come in various combinations of human and fish, or it's not really human and fish. They're not actually human and fish. They just look human, but they're not actually human and fish. But they look human. Oh, that would make sense.
What parts of them look human? Like, do they have a face?
Yeah, their upper side looks human. They have a face. They have army kind of things. And then depending, like different ones have different, so for some the humanness might stop here, and for
Mhm.
others it might stop down here. And so they have varying degrees of looking human, but they're not actually like really human. They might have some degree of human DNA, I'm not sure, but they're not actually like human. They're not part human, part fish.
Mm.
They just look human. Like if we saw them, we would identify them as having like
Human.
human-like features. Yeah.
I see. And do they resemble us in other ways as well, like in terms of behavior?
Not so much. What we have in common with them is similar to what most species have in common with others. So no, we don't really. I mean, yeah, there are some. Actually, I think it feels like they have some level of human DNA because there are some slight, slight things that we have in common, but it's like so little. It's
So
very
they're
little.
closer to fish
Yeah,
than to human. Makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
They're kind of more like they'd be better defined as like human-looking fish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about fairies? Do fairies exist?
Yes, in many different varieties as well.
Wow. That's exciting. What are their abilities?
They watch the forest. They protect the forest, some of them. They protect the trees and some spaces as you walk into them, they feel sacred or they give you a sense of peace
Mm,
and it fills you up with a sense of like grandeur and
mm.
fairies do that. They do that. Or that's where they are. I'm not sure if whether they create that or they. But there are many kinds of fairies. Some of them protect plant life and like plants that are on the ground and like mushrooms, and some of them protect um, insects. They protect the environment. They are generally not in spaces that are open and where there are people. They're generally not where there are people. They are more closer to nature.
So they don't interact with humans?
they they can. It's not that they can't, but but we kind of don't hear them. So our vibe is so different. They don't really get through to us. We don't understand them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they're closer to nature, where they can contribute. They can help us when people ask for help from fairies. They actually listen and help us. How
Wow.
cool! So people that believe in fairies and ask for like help, they get that help. It what I'm seeing is kind of similar to um, Tinkerbell and Peter Pan, in the sense that something needed to be done, some practical thing needed to be done, and he would tell Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell will do it. It's kind of like that, that if you ask them for um, something, then they can arrange it. For
Wow.
example, if you lost your keys, you can ask them to place your keys where it's visible to you, or help you find it, or help you see where it is. So they can help you with practical things like that. Help you,
Oh,
yeah, help you
that's
find things.
convenient.
Yeah, yeah. They actually really enjoy doing these things, but they do. They need to be in nature a lot, so they don't feel good being too around humans for too long, or where there's not enough like nature or plants. So they
Mm.
can help, but don't expect them to like stay around in your house for too long. But
And
we
in what
can't
way?
see them though.
Mm.
We can't see them unless you have a very sensitive intuition, because they're not solid like we are.
Okay, so they don't have wings and a glittery dress and a wand.
They not the wand, but and not the dress, but they have their energy is really, really subtle. And if you see them, they will look kind of transparent, see-through. And their energy
Mm.
is so light and quick that it's like glitter would kind of describe the feeling of it,
Mm.
although they don't have glitter, but it would kind of describe the energy in terms of like it's a very quick energy, and it's a very
Mm.
light energy. So it's like the energy is kind of sparkling in a way. Not that it looks sparkling, but it's like because it's quick and it's light.
Mm. It reminds me of Libra, Libra
Oh.
energy.
Hmm.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, so this is a great bridge to
Mm.
our next question, which is what do all the other planets think or feel about the energy of the Earth and the spiritual evolution of the Earth? Can we channel different planets?
Hmm. Which one do you want to hear from?
Okay, let's start off with Mars. Mars, what do you think about the Earth's energy?
Mars is actually thinking we're doing a good job.
Interesting.
Mars thinks we have developed very well. That is an unexpected side of Mars, actually. Mars is being very um like willing to give props to us, you know. Mars is very like Mars was more like conflict oriented, but Mars is actually acknowledging our development. Let's see one more.
So, in what ways are we developing well, Mars?
Mars is actually giving us an insight into into our past. Mars is saying you used to suffer a lot, and that has you have come a long way in the sense that you are creating a lot less suffering for yourselves than you used to. You used to be in a very difficult state. You had put yourself in a very difficult state previously, and I'm getting like a couple of thousand years back. Is it Mars? How many? 3,000 years ago, Mars says it was really bad. But Mars says you've had periods of time that were worse, that were more conflict and that were more. Mars is actually acknowledging like the problems of like wars and stuff, which is a little surprising. Mars is acknowledging that we would suffer because we were very um like I don't know how to explain it. We could be ignorant and like quick to anger. And
Wow.
Mars actually doesn't like that.
So,
Mars.
so does Mars think that war is not the right way to handle conflicts on Earth? That we're not handling them right?
Yeah, Mars says that war is us misusing his power. He says it's a misdirection of my power. My power is a constructive one, and when you don't use it constructively, you instead use it to handle your emotional business. When you feel upset about something, something hurt you, something hurt your feelings, something made you fearful, something made you feel um, offended, you use my power rather than acknowledging what it's really about, which is emotional and sometimes about the ego. He says, my power is for building stuff, getting to it, putting the action and the energy into things that you want to achieve, not into destroying each other. That is, Mars is like almost offended by it, but he understands that it's to do with our ignorance rather than like he feels like we've come a long way. We're doing much better with that now. He says it used to be a lot more not violent, but he said like more specifically about it used to be more about like you guys would fight over the slightest thing, he says. You would fight over the yeah. And now you don't do that to the same extent anymore. You recognize that it's not a constructive use of your energy. You recognize that now. You're doing better. Mars is glad for our sake. He says also we would only be harming ourselves, and Mars doesn't want us to harm each other or ourselves.
Wow, that is very insightful. Thank you, Mars. What about Venus? Venus, what do you think about the Earth's energy and spiritual evolution?
Venus Venus said, I mean, I'm having to tap into Venus because she's not talking, but so I'm having to like feel for it. She says we should be enjoying ourselves more. There is way too little of that, and we think we are enjoying ourselves a lot. We think that we are expressing these Venus energies, but Venus says that we're actually not. It's just that we think that we're only supposed to enjoy some of it, and Venus thinks that we should do it a lot more. We should be enjoying things more. Of course, maybe Venus is biased, but Venus thinks that Venus thinks that it would do us good to relax more and do more fun and enjoyable things. So Venus thinks that we should do more of that. We should do more of that. Venus thinks that we should do more. We're just not doing enough of it.
Does Venus think we're working ourselves?
Yes, and Venus really doesn't understand the purpose for that. Doesn't get what we get out of doing that. The whole purpose is to enjoy life. You're working so that in the hopes that you'll enjoy life someday. Why don't you just enjoy life?
Wow.
Why do you want to? So you convince yourself that it's about doing it for the purpose of enjoying life, but it's actually not. There is a confusion there because you think you're doing it for one reason, but you're actually not. You're actually doing it for the sake of the work because you feel guilty when you relax. For some reason, you have convinced yourselves you have to work so hard.
Wow. Very insightful. Thank you, Venus. Well, what about Mercury? Can we talk to Mercury?
Mm-hmm.
Mercury, what do you think about the Earth's energy and spiritual development?
Mercury is kind of neutral about it. Um, Mercury thinks there are different ways to see it. On the one hand, you could be communicating more. On the other hand, in parts of the world, you do communicate quite a lot. But Mercury doesn't, it's quite neutral on it, although they acknowledge that there could be more communication. Mercury is saying the communication is uneven. It's very much in parts of the planet and very little in other parts of the planet.
Interesting. And what does Mercury think about our communication becoming more and more electronic over social media and stuff?
Oh, Mercury loves it.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, they're getting so excited. They love it because it's faster. Faster. It's faster.
Interesting. Okay.
And it can be more. So, and like, yeah, it's, yeah, this because it's just faster. Mercury likes it when it's, yeah.
Okay, so
Mercury's super excited about it.
wow, okay. So Mercury doesn't see any harm in social media.
No, it's just more information and it's faster. What could possibly be the downside of more information and faster? Mercury's really excited about this.
Oh, that's adorable. Okay. Thank you, Mercury. All right. So can we talk to the moon? Maybe.
Mhm.
So Moon, what do you think? You are the closest to us. What do you think about the energy on Earth and our spiritual development?
I'm not getting anything on this. I'm not getting anything on the moon from the moon.
She's quiet.
Yeah. How come? The moon is just not interested in this question.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh, God.
She's like she's like, that's none of my business.
Oh, this is awesome.
Okay, I mean, if she doesn't if she doesn't want to talk, we don't want to force her.
Maybe on a different question, but she just doesn't care about this question much.
You have any opinion on the Earth, Moon? Like, do you have any opinion whatsoever on us, or?
Oh my God, it's close to new moon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tomorrow. That's why I'm so.
Amazing. Oh my
Oh,
God,
that's
that
why.
was like just hit me from, oh my God. The moon is just not very, it's just retreating.
Oh, I see. True, true. This is.
Crazy. I mean, that hit me
Oh my
like
God.
that. Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow. So moon, so you don't talk a lot when you're smaller? No. No. So it's harder to be in touch with the moon or get the moon energy when
Yeah,
it's, I
that
mean, it
makes
makes,
totally sense. Yeah.
wow. How awesome. How awesome that we found this out. That's awesome.
Yeah. And sorry that we were laughing about you, Moon. We love
No,
you.
I mean, I'm sure Moon is fine with that. Moon doesn't seem to want to be involved right now, but
Okay, yeah, she's taking a rest. That's okay.
yeah,
So maybe
that's,
let's, yeah, so maybe let's move on to the sun, the
yeah,
star of the show,
yeah.
sun. What do you think about our energy on Earth?
Uh, Getting a very fatherly vibe. You must keep growing. You're doing well. I appreciate the growth. You must keep growing. How much more? The sun is likes it when things are developing and growing and we're creating like both in nature and like in general that there's changes happening and we're growing. The sun is kind of like proud of us either way. I'm getting a very fatherly vibe, literally a very fatherly vibe, like always approving. But it's not really saying much in terms of. You can try more questions if you want. See
So,
what the sun has something else to say.
yeah, so are we on the right path here, sun?
No. Okay.
How
Okay.
come? What are we doing wrong?
You must not just follow me, but serious. It is not just about what is visible. It is also about what has meaning. You are acknowledging only that which is visible to you, and you are discounting the meaning. You're discounting it because it's not visible. What you need to grow in is look to serious. Look for the meaningful. Grow in terms of that which is meaningful, not just that which is visible. You're doing well, or you could develop more character. It's not just about being big and strong. It's about having a good heart.
So would you say we should work on being more authentic, son?
Oh, yes. And be original, be you, be unique. Do not try to fit in with other people. Be true to you, regardless of what that means or where that takes you. That is your key to health, vitality, and power. What was the question?
If we should be more authentic.
What I meant to say was more to do with connect with your soul and that which is meaningful to you. And yes, in a way, that would be more authentic. But if you are not connected to your soul, then your authenticity will still not involve your deeper meaning.
Mm. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Sun. Okay, so let's move on to Jupiter. Jupiter, can we talk to you?
It just struck me also that the sun is actually passing through Sirius in these days. Maybe that's why the Sirius thing came up.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like,
Wow, maybe that's why also. I don't know. Should we ask the sun if that has something to do with it?
yeah, let's
Let's
ask.
ask. Okay.
So, so Sun, what do you meant by we should follow Sirius? Is it and is there any connection to you moving through Sirius now?
Yes, now that I am moving from your perspective past Sirius, that means that for your growth and your well-being and for your development, that is where your focus should be, on your soul, on your meaning. So during this time, you are connecting with the awareness of your deeper meaning of your soul. And so, yes, there is a purpose for why I brought that up now. It's because now is when you need to focus on that. Right now, the message that I gave you is relevant right now. It's important right now.
Mm. Wow, so what should we do personally?
During these past few days, you would have felt a stronger awareness of your deeper meaning, of your soul, in whichever way that comes to you, whether it feels conscious or unconscious to you, you would have a stronger feeling around it. Me giving you this message would just make it more conscious, and so it will help you to do that on a conscious as well as subconscious level, connecting with your soul, becoming a whole person, becoming fulfilled on the inside, feeling meaning in the inside, not just looking healthy and well on the outside, but feeling spiritually healthy and well on the inside, connecting with something deeper, something greater on the inside.
Oh, thank you for that advice, Sun. Okay, so can we talk to Jupiter? Okay, Jupiter, what do you think about the Earth's energy and spiritual development?
Jupiter is commenting on the travel restrictions.
Mm.
Jupiter says it's a drag, but Jupiter is really happy to see that people can't wait to travel and they're excited to do it, and people are wanting to travel and ignore the rules and travel anyway. People, Jupiter is happy to see that people are wanting to expand their horizons regardless of any societal expectations that are coming from governments.
Mm.
Jupiter is glad that people's willingness or wish to grow and expand and see and travel, that is unsuppressible.
And has that maybe been the purpose for these travel restrictions for us to reconnect and to remember how much growth we experience through traveling?
Yeah, it's such a funny response to that. Sorry, I got caught up in. Okay, first of all, Jupiter answered while you were asking the question, and it said no, there was no purpose. It was like they're like you trying to get back to there was. So Jupiter doesn't acknowledge that there was any good reason for this to. So Jupiter thinks that's just us being um, restricted for no reason.
Mm.
Jupiter doesn't see what the purpose was for that. Um, what was the question? Sorry, because I was busy with Jupiter's reaction when.
So the question was if Jupiter thinks that these travel restrictions reminded us of how much growth we experienced through traveling.
Jupiter said, yes, it did make people realize how important traveling is. But Jupiter says, you didn't have to do this to yourselves.
Mm.
You didn't, Jupiter doesn't think that that anything particularly good came out of it
Mm.
from their point of view. Um, in terms of, the Jupiterian values. Let me see what Jupiter wants to say about it. Jupiter says it was totally unnecessary. And now it made people fearful of the Jupiterian energy in terms of growth, travel, enlightenment, and opening your mind and widening your horizons and experiencing things for yourself. It's people became fearful of that.
Wow.
But Jupiter is happy that some people cannot be suppressed either way. Some people have this urge that's strong in them that they cannot be held down.
Mm.
And Jupiter is happy to see that.
That's awesome.
Jupiter is saying, because you have Jupiter conjunct Uranus, don't you, Bahar?
I do, yeah.
Jupiter is saying, so you're a real rebel when it comes to the Jupiter qualities.
I am.
Jupiter is saying, you will do it your way. Jupiter is saying, I like that it makes you more like, it's like by any means necessary, you will have the enlightenment, you will have the growth, you will have the expansion, you will have by any means necessary. If you have to have the Uranian chaos to make it, you will make it,
That's true. Thanks, Jupiter.
Jupiter likes that because it's sort of there's a side of Jupiter that is kind of like almost angry at like Jupiter doesn't like people being held down, suppressed and restricted. And so that makes Jupiter not kind of angry or like not sad, but like kind
brings
of
out the
angry.
Uranian
Yeah.
flavor in Jupiter.
So with you, so Jupiter likes the fact that with you, it's like you will resist that by any means. Like you cannot be restricted. You cannot be held down in terms of you will grow, you will learn, you will, expand your mind. It just cannot be contained. It just cannot be contained. And Jupiter likes that sense of like rebellion.
Wow, thank you, Jupiter.
Yeah, Jupiter
That was a
appreciates
nice comment. Oh, thank you, Jupiter. That's beautiful.
But you want to ask Jupiter for something? Let's try that. You want to ask Jupiter? Because you're starting a new course, aren't you? Starting a new school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have
For
any
some blessing or some? Do you want to ask for any?
do you have any advice for this new chapter and this new study program?
Yes. The advice is to whatever you take in, make it grow who you are as a person. Don't just focus on like the knowledge in your mind, things that you need to learn for your mind, but rather make it take it in to grow you as a person. Make you a bigger person rather than just a more knowledgeable person. The benefit of this experience is in who you become rather than what you learn.
Wow.
So make it grow you rather than it just making your mind heavy. Let me see. I want to ask Jupiter to bless you on your new course. Jupiter says if you commit to taking in what you need to grow yourself, then that will make Jupiter very happy, and Jupiter will help and support you and bless you. So if you, through your experiences, whatever, all of the things from like the daily experiences to the actual education and stuff, if you take it in to grow you, to make yourself a wiser, more experienced, better person, a more enlightened person, a more, bigger person, then Jupiter will bless you and gift you and support you in many ways and will sort of bless your path.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. This is amazing advice, I think, for anyone, really. This is beautiful. Thank you, Jupiter. Wow, I love your energy. I don't even want to move on to Saturn, but we're doing that. So, moving on to Saturn, I guess.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
Saturn is saying, I know you don't enjoy my energy, but I do make things solid for you. I make things solid for you. There are things that you want solid, that you want to be solid, and that's what I do for you.
that's very true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry that you feel so unappreciated by us, Saturn.
I wonder let me ask what Saturn feels about that. Because we do tend to.
Yeah.
And what do you feel about that, Saturn? Well, it's not that it's untrue. Okay, so what do you have to say about it then? It's not untrue. It's just not very nice to not be liked.
Aw.
But it's not untrue. I mean, it's not. Yeah.
But you do have aspects that are likable. So you're right. You do help us attain our goals and make things solid and really manifest them into our reality, right?
There are a lot of very important blessings that I bring to you, but they are so fundamental that you don't even see them necessarily as my blessings. They are such a solid and dependable part of your life that you don't consider them because you've never questioned their existence. They've always been there for you. And so
Wow.
anything that is solid and dependable and that you know will be there, that you never have to doubt, that is my energy. And so I do have a lot of blessings for you. And the blessings far outweigh the challenges, but I do understand that I'm not a fun party guy. So I understand.
Yeah.
Saturn is very aware that
Mm. And what do you
not the one
think?
you would invite to a party. So
Yeah. And what do you think about our energy, Saturn? What do you think about the Earth's energy and our progression?
Saturn thinks we're adorable. It really is the energy of like a grandparent, literally. Saturn thinks we're adorable and like patting us on our heads.
Oh.
We're adorable. You you are cute. I help you. You grow very, very slow, but I don't want you to grow. You are very cute like this. When you grow up, you won't need me. You need me now because you are very like kids.
Oh
You
yeah.
want to have fun. You run from there to there. I need to guard you, set the limitations so you don't run into traffic, so you don't go too far out in the sea, so you don't fall in the fall in the playground. I have to watch over you all the time. I like it that way. When you grow up, you won't need me.
Wow. Okay. So do you see like any growth? Do you see that we've made any growth whatsoever if you see us as children still?
You have, in a way, regressed, but I want to comment on something because Saturn is comparing to much, 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 like I think it was Mars who looked a couple of thousand years back.
Mm.
Saturn is looking like
Oh yeah.
hundreds of thousands of years back
Mm.
and saying we have regressed.
Wow. Okay.
So that's really interesting to have this
Yeah.
experience of like Saturn's idea of time is much vaster, much
Mm.
bigger.
Wow.
And according to Saturn, we have regressed in some ways. There were times we didn't need Saturn. Saturn used to be a lot more relaxed, he says. I used to be a lot more relaxed because you didn't need me as much. You were more responsible. Now that
Mm.
you lack my qualities, I have to I have to give you external limitations. I have to watch over you more closer now. You don't
Wow.
have the sense of maturity.
So you became.
You just want fun and play. You run off, you hurt yourselves, you argue in the playground, you 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 hit each other with your toys.
Oh my gosh, I
I'm
love it.
really literally seeing a playground. I'm
Okay,
literally seeing kids.
wow. Okay.
But you can't see us in any other way from Saturn's point of view. I'm
Mm.
seeing literally kids.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And and I'm seeing like ages 3 to 4 from Saturn's point of view. 3 or 4 years old.
So we're
Yeah.
toddlers. Okay.
Yeah. But Saturn used
Beautiful.
to see us as like tens of thousands, I don't know how many, but many tens of thousands of years ago, Saturn saw us as adults.
Wow. So
So,
we've regressed from
yeah,
adults to
yeah,
toddlers.
yeah.
Wow. Do you have any, okay, so do you have any advice for us for to mature faster, Saturn?
You have to understand your limitations yourselves. You have to be willing to take responsibility and think about consequences and what comes next. Don't just do what you feel all the time. Consider the consequences, consider the risks, consider dangers to yourself. Be aware that if you don't watch out, you might fall. Consider these things. Try to mature on the inside. When you mature on the inside, you won't need me as much, and I can take a step back. But take your time with this. You are going in the right direction, but it's very slow.
Mm.
But you do need to mature and really think about what you do to other people. Just because you don't feel it when you hit your friend. I'm literally seeing kids on the playground hit. So even if you don't feel it when you hit your friend, some damage has been done even if you don't feel it. So when you are mature when you realize that when you hit somebody else, damage has been done.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the best way I can put it. Saturn
Yeah.
is literally showing me kids in a playground.
I mean, honestly, this advice is really good for all of humanity, which is,
Mm,
so it It's good advice, honestly. Thank you, Saturn. Thank
Yeah.
you. We don't appreciate you enough, so thank you for everything that you do for us. Everything that we don't even acknowledge anymore because it's so dependable.
Saturn is saying it's nice to get that appreciation. It's
Oh,
nice. It is
good.
it's a very warm, it's a very warm thank you from Saturn. Saturn
Oh,
can be warm actually. Can be
wow.
warm, yeah. So
Beautiful.
it's a warm thank you.
Okay, so are you ready for Uranus? Okay. So Uranus, can we talk to you?
Yeah,
What do you think about the Earth's energy and development, Uranus?
I like it because you're a little wild. Everyone is kind of doing their own thing. I like it. You don't care about what you're supposed to be doing. I like it. It's messy. You don't really have a clear direction. You just do what you feel like. I like that.
Oh, that does make sense. And do you feel like we've evolved, Uranus?
No.
All right.
Let me get more on that because maybe it depends on timing or time.
True. Yeah. And so in what
No, I mean it's a no. No.
do you have any advice for us on how we could evolve faster?
You have to respect innovation and inspired downloads in terms of technology. You have to respect those things. One of your most famous examples are is Tesla, Nikola Tesla. You did not value this man, you did not respect this man,
Mm.
you did not see the value in his intuition. And so his inventions were stolen and misused. He is not the only one. He is just one of those who gained fame. But just like his experience during his lifetime, those other ones, they are usually suppressed and oppressed rather than respected.
Mm. I have a yeah, I have a question for that, Uranus, because you rule all innovations. And what do you have to say about female females who have been innovative and oppressed by society? Have there been innovations that we don't even know of actually females?
Oh, yes, many.
Mm.
Some innovations that you are aware of, where you are not aware of who actually innovated it. There are some very famous male inventors whose wives actually invented things, knowing that the wives themselves would never get the acknowledgement they deserved. They would have to go through their husbands. So it's not necessarily a matter of the husband stealing his wife's innovation. It is more often the case that the husband helped out the wife by making their innovations available to the public in a way that they never would have been if it didn't go through a male person. So that is a common theme. There was something more. What was the question?
what Uranus has to say about female oppression, especially female innovations.
There are many things that women have invented, but there are different ways that this happens. Apart from what we just mentioned, there are inventions that we are familiar with where the inventor is unknown or has just been ignored. That is usually the case when it's a female. If they could not ignore the invention, if the invention was important enough, they would just make the inventor irrelevant. And as opposed to if it's a man, in which case he would be acknowledged and be credited for his work. And in some cases, inventions from women have just been ignored. If it is such an invention that it can be ignored, then it would be. But if the invention is so important for humanity and so groundbreaking, then it could not be ignored. And in those cases, the inventor would either be hushed in terms of nobody would know who the inventor is, or it would go through a male partner.
Wow, can you give us one specific advice about a groundbreaking invention by a female?
I'm not getting one specific one, but I'm getting that there are like quite a few, but like different areas of like science and like technology.
Mm.
So like in every area there are like many significant ones. So I can't really see any one particular one.
Mm.
Unless we sort of narrow it down, perhaps. What we
Yeah,
do hear of is the photograph of a black hole, photograph of I don't know if I'm interpreting this correctly, but there was a woman who had the photograph of a black hole, I believe, something. I'm seeing the vision of this. That was news a couple of years back. It was news. That was a woman. That is one example of that these big things are sometimes done by females.
Mm.
It's just that now it would be inappropriate to keep her out of the spotlight. It would be, although it's still done to some extent, she is not as celebrated as she would have been if she was a male. But at least as a society, we recognize that it would be inappropriate to hide her identity simply because she's a female, which was very common before and can still in some cases be the case that the identity will be hidden because it's a female, because there was an interest in making in anything related to being intellectual or intelligent related to women. There was a conscious attempt to keep those things separate in the eyes of society.
So, do you have any advice for us, Uranus, on how we can accelerate female liberation?
Women are moving in the right direction because you will find that what I would like to see from women is actually happening right now, and that is that more women should be willing to do what they believe is right, even if it bothers or provokes other people. sometimes, especially if it bothers or provokes other people, because if people are bothered and provoked by you being true to yourself, you being brilliant, you being a trailblazer, then they should be acknowledging this resistance within themselves. They should be made aware of these oppressive views that they hold. So by you as a woman being yourself to the extent that it would bother and provoke other people, it will give those people a chance to see how they are oppressive in their views, usually subconsciously. And so, in a way, that will help them deal with where they need to grow. And in a way, in a sense, you will have helped them make progress. And so you are creating progress for society by just being unapologetically and provocatively yourself.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Uranus. I want to check in on your energy level. How are you doing?
I'm feeling really thirsty.
Because
Really thirsty.
we can do the last
Oh,
two planets next time too.
oh, I think we've gone way over time though.
Yeah, I
Yeah, so I
also
think
just realized.
we need to stop here. Oh, that makes sense that I got thirsty. Oh, okay. You want to come back?
Yeah.
Mm. Wow. We went way over
Wow.
time. This is
Yes,
like an hour
we
and a
did.
half. Yeah.
I
Oh
I I
dear.
just realized that's why I was
Yeah.
like, whoa,
Oh,
because
cool.
yeah, with the planets, I think we're
Yeah.
just enjoying ourselves so much.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
We-
crazy. I thought it was a real revelation how um the moon just didn't want to answer. And then I realized it's it's so crazy. It's because of the new moon.
Yeah. And
Mm.
I absolutely love when you channel the planets because I love how their like personalities come through
Yeah.
so much. It's so
Yeah.
enjoyable.
That is so awesome. I agree. I mean, I used to think of them as just objects in the sky. Now I see them as consciousness,
Yeah,
it's
archetypes that are
yeah,
in us. And
yeah,
even like your gesturing, like when you channeled Saturn,
yeah.
even like your gesturing was like a
Awesome.
grandpa, like
Really, it really felt like a grandfatherly energy. And it was so nice to feel, to get to see that, because throughout the whole Saturn thing, I was literally seeing kids on a playground, like toddlers in a playground, and they were like in a, sandbox, and like hitting each other, and they were like doing like castles, and then one would like go out of the sandbox and fall down. And so like it's like that's literally how Saturn looks at us.
Jesus, yeah.
And it's like
Oh my gosh.
it was
And
amazing.
it's not even that far
Yeah.
from reality. Like
Yeah, but it's like I
seriously.
couldn't get myself to see it in any other way. Like it was literally like it was unshakable. Like that is really how Saturn sees us. Like we're little kids. It was
Oh,
quite
amazing.
the experience. I love that we could do it like this in a longer one. I
Yeah.
Yeah. And for the viewers, I really want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I thought this was awesome. Don't you think this was more rewarding than doing like the shorter ones?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah,
I
same.
really and we should totally do like Neptune and Pluto next time because
Yeah,
isn't it interesting that Neptune and Pluto, the two hidden planets, are always the
yeah.
ones that like they get out of the somehow, they manage to get out of the lineup.
Yeah, that's
Because they're so
true.
elusive. Yeah.
Let's ask them about that next time. How come?
Yeah.
How come they're always excluded?
Hmm.
That's going to be good to know. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
awesome.
just suits their energy so much, because they're like so
Yeah,
like
yeah,
hidden
because
and
Pluto likes to be hidden, but then
Yeah.
Neptune always feels left out. Neptune
Yeah.
always feels left out. And so, yeah. Isn't it?
I think it was great.
Yeah,
I'm
me
very, very excited to hear people's comments on this
yes,
and
me
thoughts.
too. And also, you guys write down your new questions so we can do them for next time. They were awesome. Also, before I finish, I want to just remind of the volume 1 of Channeled Messages is out. Volume 1 is called "How Does Oregano Feel?" How does oregano feel? If you want to find out how oregano feels, check out the ebook with the transcribed messages. It's not just transcribed; it's actually adapted for like a book format. So it's actually you're gonna have a different experience while reading that. And once again, I just want to give a quick shout out to those who have been supporting this: Ishia Simone, Gwendolyn, Mila Kurikova, Ashley Nicole, Damian Collins, Candy, Kritika, L. Ortiz, Astro Anna, King J Slim, eSync 444. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to Bahar also, obviously. Well, she's a part of the establishment now, but thank you, everybody.
Thanks for having
Bye.
me. Bye.